How y'all doing tonight? So I was at one of my first football games with my friends, and we were singing the chorus of Hail to the Lion, that part where it goes, Penn State forever, molders of men and women. And then my guy friends said, just men. And I was 18, really trying not to let my feminism show, so I didn't say anything, because it's a joke, right? But perhaps those jokes like that, make us think we're further along the path to equality than we actually are, and that's problematic. Because although women make up 46% of our undergraduate population, and traditionally underrepresented ethnic groups make up 33% of that population, we really are kind of masking the real state of equality at Penn State. As of this school year, women and traditionally underrepresented ethnic groups still have extremely low numbers in the colleges of STEM and business. And for people with disabilities, those numbers are even lower. And while students at Penn State that identify as LGBTQ actually have a higher representation than they do across the nation, that doesn't protect them at all from discrimination. The problem is, when people see very few of these individuals in their classes, and when they know very few details about their history or their perspectives, a dangerous environment ensues, and we know that from experience. These are a few of the many incidents of violence and discrimination towards our students and our community members over the past 2 decades at Penn State, many of them making national news. Take a look. We have watched our students threaten and injure other students, often without penalty, and there is a pattern. Underneath all of these headlines is a lack of sociocultural understanding, and we can fix that. I mean, because as sad as it is, it's predictable when we have the majority of our perspectives that we read, listen to, watch, coming from white, male, Christian, middle class, upper middle class, and heterosexual lenses. It's expected that if we hear other perspectives, we might react with shock, and we might even react violently. So we need to change this, and it's not just an issue of equality, it's an issue of safety for Penn State students. We have a wonderful tradition of education and excellence in our academics. But we need to make sure that we're reaching out in multiple ways, because it's impossible for students to study when they're worrying about racial or homophobic threats following them around, when they've been sexually assaulted or harassed, when they have been discriminated against because of their physical disability as though it were somehow a social or intellectual disability. Providing that excellent Penn State education is no longer just a matter of sheer academic skill. It's a matter of making sure we are in touch with our world, because we're in a global community, guys. It's not just an advantage to understand people. It's a necessity for our graduates. So to provide that awesome education while protecting our students and following that equality vision that came from Title IX and civil rights legislation, we've got to change our culture at Penn State, and we've got to change the way that we mold our students. Now, if, for instance, we change things from the get-go with freshman English. I know, right? Freshman English. We might have a real shot. Because if everybody's discussing things on a get-go, on a regular basis, and getting the chance to have open and frank discussions, then we'll really make a difference. Now, at the moment, you'll notice we do have a diversity option. But again, I don't think it should be optional. Instead, I propose a renovation to all of our freshman English courses so that we create one course that allows us to talk about issues of diversity for a lot of different perspectives. Take a look at some of these. Maybe you didn't even think about them when I introduced my talk, but all of them matter. When we try to incorporate these, we provide our students with the ability to move forward in their academic careers with a little bit more understanding and empathy. Now, we can do this by taking the best from historic and modern voices, as well as Penn State voices. We had the same curriculum aims in freshman English as we do now: rhetorical analysis, class projects, advocacy projects, class discussions. The difference would be the curriculum itself. And who better to create the curriculum than our own Penn State faculty? We could consult our own English, women's studies, African American studies, Latina studies, Asian studies, and Middle Eastern studies department. We can consult our own Paul Robeson Cultural Center. We can consult our own Office for Disability Services and the LGBTQ Student Resource Center. All of these perspectives brought together would allow us to create a curriculum that focuses on intersectionality and finding common ground amongst our students. Now, moving forward, we'd actually have to make a few major changes. First, we'd need a new textbook that meets both the academic and the diversity requirements of this course, and we might not find one tailored to our needs. So what we'd have to do is create our own course pack, and by the way, one that's affordable, but yeah, for real though. The next plan would be to start training our teachers differently. Many of our instructors for first-year writing courses are actually first-time teachers at Penn State, or they're graduate students who might not necessarily know the full urgency of diversity literature and what that really actually means, you know? So focusing on that would be important. The next thing is we have to make sure this does not become, for those teachers, a political platform, or for any of the other students for that matter, as Dr. Maxine Harrison cautions. Quite the opposite from this. We would actually create an open dialogue in which teacher and student opinions, all student opinions, are held with the same amount of weight. These literatures would first provide the basis for lessons on rhetoric, and then start as a catalyst for cultural exchanges. At the end of the day, we want to make sure that these lessons are all helping students to take them into their own writing and their own passions beyond freshman English, because not many of us are studying English, me excluded. When we focus on passions in our freshman English, we make it about women and people of color in STEM fields, so that when the engineering students taking their class, they don't feel left out. We have a better shot of making the state of equality a little bit more equal. The bottom line is that we're not going to create an environment in which this is the sheltered, politically correct environment as some people worry about. Rather, what we're creating instead is a place where we're exposing students to the real world, but from multiple perspectives, often unheard. We have to address these perspectives, if for no other reason than to prevent violence and hate. I hope that we'll take this seriously, because I know that it would be a major change to renovate all the freshman English courses, but hopefully we recognize it as a chance to extend that spirit of excellence in academics at Penn State and be the molders of all of our men and women. Thank you.